So if you have a circle, the things you need and the magic words they're going to use for sector area or arc length is you're going to need theta, which is just the degree measure or the angle measure, because we will talk about radians tomorrow. And the only difference between degree and radians, just so you're aware, is kind of like doing centimeters versus inches, or it's just a choice of measurement difference. So tomorrow when you start talking about radians, don't panic. It's nothing different. You just have to be able to convert back and forth. And it's, again, inches to feet. It's once you memorize what their ratio to each other is, super easy. And then we're not going to do anything more than a day on that because it's not a huge thing and the chances you're going to run into it is very small. So we're just going to make sure that we know our formulas for sector area and arc length and what parts we need. So then if we were doing arc length, that's what I call like the pepperoni pizza, the crust. So the outside. Arc length is a portion of the entire circumference. So we need theta and we need radius to be able to solve for arc length and or, it doesn't matter, sector area as well. So, and then your sector area is all the goodies inside that piece of pizza. So your cheese, your pepperoni, if you do, meat lovers, all the stuff. So all the cheesy down saucy part is going to be your sector area. And it's all relative to an entire circle. So if you understand the fractional portion of 60 to 360, you can do it that way as well. Like you could find the area of the whole circle and then take out that fractional piece from that if you forget your formula. But the formulas are not super hard because, again, speaking to that, it does that math for you. So for sector area, we are going to find the area of a circle, which is pi r squared, and we're going to multiply it by theta and divide by 360. And that's just, again, deciding what portion of that full circle, and theta, again, is the degree measure of area, is the cheesy, that one slice of pizza or piece of pie. So then we're going to type in 60 degrees, pi, and then your radius would be 8. We're going to square it and divide by 360. Be really careful. The formula also shows where theta over 360 is separate from pi r squared. In your calculator, just make sure that you are putting in what the calculator needs you to put in so it knows how to do what you need. I'm a big fan of breaking things down just because that way I know me and calculator are speaking the same language. So I know 8 squared is 64. And 64 times 60 in my calculator is going to be 3,840 divided by 360. And I haven't used pi yet. Another thing I realized that a lot of Math 3 students have an issue with along the way is when the answer is left in terms of pi. So that is the most accurate answer because pi is an indefinite number that goes, and it's irrational. It goes on forever and ever and ever. So you are going to have to round. And when we're talking pi and measurements, so think about building a house, building a skyscraper, doing math in the real world, big picture, advanced math, accuracy matters. If you're off by, just a hair with 2 boards, then they don't meet. So leaving it in terms of pi is the most accurate measure of this portion of, like I said, pizza seems very not important to area, but the numbers do matter. So this is a great answer, except for the fact that it needs to be reduced. So if we have 3,840 divided by 360, that gives us, in a regular calculator, like a TI-80, you get the decimal, and then you hit math, and then you're going to have fraction. Math frac, which is what you would have done if you had access to TI-83s a long time ago, or 84s. So it's 32 over 3 pi. So 32 pi over 3 is going to be your most accurate answer. In Desmos, if you type in 32 over 3, so 32, whoops, I'm pushing all the wrong buttons, divided by 3, you see that it says 10.67, which is right. And over here on the left-hand side, this fraction in the circle will convert it to fraction. So that's your math frac button. Uh-oh, it's not showing you, is it? Ugh. Hold on. So again, 32 divided by 3. If you don't click this button over here, you have your decimal. If you do click the fraction button in the corner, it converts it to your simplified fraction. And I gave you 32 over 3, which is a simplified fraction. It was 3,840 divided by 360. Why is it not doing any of the numbers? 3,840 divided by 360. So again, 10.67. Simplify will give you the 32 over 3. So you can type in whatever nasty looking fraction you want. Oh, that's why, because it was typing it there. And then you will get the reduced version by clicking this circle over here. And again, that's just a formatting on Desmos, so you can reduce your fractions using Desmos. And then Desmos testing, which you're actually going to see, there is no functionality that's different. This is what it's going to look like on your test. But again, same thing. So it was 3,840 divided by 360. And it's still there. So all the things should look exactly the same. It just appears different. But you ultimately have all the same accessibility. So this is your most accurate. Now, you want to make sure you read the problem and are also open-minded enough not to panic when your answer is not there. If it's not in terms of pi, if it happened to be multiple choice, or if it doesn't say leave in terms of pi, you can either use 3.14 or use the pi button. And it does make a difference. The answers will be slightly different and sometimes depending very different because it is multiplication. And again, pi is an indefinite fraction, and whereas your, sorry, I'm looking at my answer key and I got something different. I hope I did all that wrong. Right. 60 degrees. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Never mind. Yeah, this is right. So 32 divided by 3. And if you times it by your pi symbol, you're going to get 33.51. And then if you do 32 divided by 3 and then times it by 3.14, you get 33.49, which seems like no big deal. But again, we are in advanced math enough that it is a big deal. So it is very much wrong. And then you just round to the numbered place. So tenths is 1 place, 100ths is 2 places after the decimal, thousandths is 3 places after the decimal. So all of this, whether in terms of pi, using 3.14 or pi, and how many decimals to round to, is something you're going to have to read in the instructions to that problem. And it will be different for every problem. So sector area again is the blue. Now looking at the arc length, that is a portion of the circumference of the entire circle. So circumference, hopefully remember, is 2 pi r, or pi diameter. And then you're going to multiply it by theta and again divide by 360 because that's deciding what size slice of that entire pizza are you going to take. So we have 2 pi, our radius is 8, and then we're going to multiply it times theta, or the degree measure, and then divide by 360. Again, I would do 2 times 8 times 60, or 16 times 60, and you get the 960 pi over 360. And I know a lot of you want to just put it in the calculator, get an answer. Trust me when I tell you that the formatting of these answers could start anywhere. So it could be in terms of pi. It could be using 3.14, or it could be using pi, the actual button, or the true value. There's not a consistency or one that is more likely to occur. So when I say if you can start here and then work your way down, you won't have to backtrack. I found most students in Math 3 do a better job of having all the answers down, or at least starting at the most simple, accurate answer in this case, and then changing it forward if the answer choices are not there, or if it does say by 3.14 or pi. So 960 divided by 360, I believe that's the one I had up here. Oh, not anymore. So 960 divided by 360. Again, it gives you the decimal. Click over here. You get the reduced fraction of 8 over 3. which is going to be 8 over 3 pi. And again, that's in terms of pi, or also considered the most accurate answer for arc length. And then with 3.14, if you're using that as your pi button, so 8 divided by 3 times 3.14, it's 8.37. And this is going to be just regular feet, as whereas your area is going to be feet squared. And then if you use your pi button, so 8 divided by 3 times pi, whoops. Oh man, I'm pushing all the wrong buttons, guys, sorry. It's 8.38. And that's your pi answer. And like I said, I wish I could tell you which way it was going to be every time, but there is not like a hard line every time. It will be whatever they decide to tell you. So you want to be prepared for, in terms of pi, using 3.14 or pi. All of those are it. So ultimately, that is it. The only way, and none of these do it, but, so this one highlights out here. Pretend like that's not there. What they will often do will give you the 90 on this side and then ask you for the area or the arc length of the opposite side. It's what I call jumping into the deep end with no swimmies. You just grab the 90 and you find the information, and then you would have found, like in this case, if it was a word problem, this is the slice of pizza you ate. This is the amount of pizza left over, like left for the rest of the party or whatever, or your family. So if the question is asking for this, you have to take 360 minus 90 to get your new theta. Or to get the theta, I don't guess it's really new, the theta that they're actually referring to. So your 270, which is this side. And you will still use the same radius. So that would be, I would think, short of memorizing the formulas, that is the only way that I've seen them really like mess around and trick you. So once you memorize the formula, these guys are in the bag. Like, it's it. So all you got to remember is area plus theta over 3, or multiplied times theta over 360. And then your length is circumference times theta over 360. So in this case, if we're doing it for the 270, if we want to do the area, there's theta pi r squared over 360. And in this case, our theta is 270. 90 is your trick answer. And if it was a multiple choice question, they're going to give you both answers for sure, especially on our EOC day. So pi, our radius is 7 squared divided by 360. So 90 times 49, because 7 times 7 is 49, is going to give me 4,410 over 360. And we have not used our pi button yet. So again, this is where you would go and type that in Desmos probably, or in your calculator, and you're going to simplify that fraction. Make sure it's in the most simplified form. So 49 over 4 pi is the most accurate answer, otherwise known as in terms of pi. If this rocks your world and it happens to be a multiple choice question, when those answers are in terms of pi like that, and maybe you just like boogied through and did like you always do, convert all the answers to the form you want them to be. So type in 49 times pi divided by 4 and then make it work. Again, make sure you're paying attention to whether it is going to be the pi button they want, or if it is going to be the pi 3.14. So if I multiply this by 3.14, so using our pi, it'd be 30. So 3.14 answer is 38.47. 49 divided by 4 times the pi button is 38.48. And again, those two so far have not been huge differences. They do get a lot bigger, some of them. Again, it depends on the size of the radius. It depends on the size of the angle, because you are multiplying. And so the bigger the number you're multiplying, the more room there is for it to grow and get out of control. We'll do arc length for number 10. So arc length, again, that means we're traveling around the outside. So we're going to go arc length. Arc length is a portion of the circumference. So that means we know it's 2 pi r. And we're doing it of the entire circle. So theta over 360. So 2 times pi. Our radius is 10. Our theta is going to be 315 at this point. And then we're going to divide by 360. Make sure you're using the radius and not the diameter. If they give you a full line and they give you a full measure, that's fine. Just make sure you're using the right one. So it's going to be 20 times 315. It's going to be 6,100 over 360. And that's pi. And so we're going to, again, I'm going to show you one more time just in case. If you go to Desmos, we type in, I'm about to punch on my calculator. That's not going to work for us. And then it should give you a decimal if you haven't clicked it. Your fraction, we have 305 over 18. Not very pretty, but it is our answer. So 305 over 18 pi is the most accurate answer. And then we're going to try it with 3.14. So 305 divided by 18 times 3.14 is 53.2. So 3.14 is 53.2. And then 305 divided by 18 times pi button. Oh boy, I made a mess, sorry. Is 53.2 again. So this one, there was no difference. Talk to me, ask me questions. I think, like I kind of mentioned yesterday, I feel like this is way easier than what we've been doing as far as segment lengths and angles and all that fun stuff, because it's pretty straightforward. Just use the formula and then pay attention to what you're doing. Make sure you're getting the the angle measure of the sector or arc that you're trying to measure, and then make sure you find the radius. Do we want to do more, or do we want to call it a day? Yeah, like mad easier. Because it can't get twisted up, and there's not a ton of rules. It's literally just the two formulas. Awesome, Abby. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. I love it. All right, well then we'll call it a short class.